She finally let me go.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Paranoids. Today we're taking our first foray into the abandoned town of Shelby Oaks.
I've been searching for Riley for the last 12 years. I know my sister's not dead.
Bodies were found outside of Shelby Oaks. Riley Brennan is still missing.
The last night I saw her, she said she saw a man standing in her window, staring at her. Mia. You live alone out here? Nope. Where is my sister? Riley.
What's going on, guys? Mike here, and tonight was my 4th night of Beyond Fest. For those of you keeping track, I've seen Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, Good Boy, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Tonight, though, was special because it was the West Coast premiere of a highly anticipated horror movie called Shelby Oaks from first-time writer director Chris Stuckmann. Now, for me, I've actually been a fan of Chris Stuckmann's for a while. I love his reviews on YouTube. He is incredibly knowledgeable. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly passionate about cinema. And you could see all of that from the knowledge and the passion of cinema translated on screen as a filmmaker, because Shelby Oaks is a very strong directorial debut for Chris Stuckmann. It also comes to us from Neon Films, who's had a great year with horror movies. Just look at Together, for example, which was really good. And executive producer Mike Flanagan, who, if you guys know me, you know that I'm a huge Mike Flanagan fan. Now, Shelby Oaks basically is one of those movies where the less you know about it, the better. I think the campaigns for this movie have been incredibly minimalistic. You don't really know what's going on. But to summarize it the best that I can, spoiler-free, basically a woman named Riley Brennan goes missing in 2008. She is a paranormal investigator of a YouTube show, and she goes to an abandoned town called Shelby Oaks, and she's never heard from again. 12 years later, her older sister, Mia, basically is doing kind of a documentary about what happened to Riley, gets a mysterious knock on the door, finds this random visitor who shoots himself in the head and leaves behind a cassette tape labeled Shelby Oaks. As Mia plays that tape and watches what's on it, she discovers that maybe things aren't what they seem with her sister, and she goes to investigate the happenings and her sister's disappearance on her own. It's a very standard setup for, one of those evil town movies, but it's done in a very smart way. Stuckmann really does a great job with this movie because he focuses a lot more on setting mood, setting dread, setting tension. He does that with his shots. He does that with the background and the foreground, what he does with silhouettes, and what he does with all of this, what you're seeing in the foreground, what you're seeing in the background, the sounds that you hear. It's eerie, it's spooky, and it's pretty well done. He knows how to make things creepy, and he does so without over-reliance on jump scares. So he's a great filmmaker in that regard. Where he stumbles a little bit is this. I mean, there is a central mystery, obviously, behind Shelby Oaks. And like a lot of horror movies where, the mystery is key, oftentimes the setup is a lot better than the actual payoff. And I think Shelby Oaks is no exception there. The first 2 acts of this movie are a lot stronger than the final act. And that's not to say it's a bad movie. It just means that he does such a good job setting up the first 2 acts of the movie and the central mystery that you probably anticipate a little bit more to the answers and the resolution than you actually do get. I think that the performances in this movie are pretty terrific. Stuckmann commands his leads very beautifully. The entire thing is really filled with that sense of dread and some really effed up imagery as well. He sticks to practical effects for most of this movie. Not an ounce of CG was really used for most of this. And you could see that quality, in every frame and every shot, everything that he sets up. He also took the time to scout and film at some really, really creepy locations. One of them was a prison. Another one was just different, shacks and buildings and locations, like an abandoned theme park. And he does a really good job capturing the spookiness and the desolate feelings that come from being in places like this. He's very good about that. I will say that the movie does have a few, typical horror movie tropes that are, provide a little bit of anti-common sense weaknesses. For example, characters will go investigating spooky prisons that they've just heard the most terrifying stories about, like a scene before, but they'll still go by themselves, and it's just kind of senseless, but also it is creepy still, every horror movie does these sorts of things. And the best thing about it as well is that Stuckmann derives his horror and his scares less so from jump scares. He's not very reliant on jump scares, but more from mood and tension and atmosphere and this feeling of doom, like something bad is going to happen. You can feel it in the pit of your stomach. There's a lot about this movie that's been heavily inspired by some really terrific, classics. I think Rosemary's Baby, maybe, a little bit of Longlegs. It got that feeling of dread from a movie like Longlegs. A lot of really terrific films that have come before it, he's been very much heavily inspired by, and it shows. It's a good debut. I just wish that the final act was as strong as the first 2 acts of this movie. That the amount of horror that we got from, the feeling of the unknown is a lot stronger than the horror that we get from what's blatantly shown to us at the end. I will say that there are a couple of plot holes that I don't necessarily want to get into, just because they'll spoil aspects of this movie. However, I will also say that there's a little bit of the execution, particularly in the final act, that does make aspects of this movie a little bit confusing. And I don't necessarily think that, it all adds up, especially as answers start to come. But that being said, I still had a really fun time with Shelby Oaks. I think maybe it's probably, my 3rd favorite movie out of 4 that I've seen this festival. I really, really liked Good Boy. which was also from a first-time writer-director. And, of course, I really love the legendary Park Chan-wook and his latest work, No Other Choice. And I would say that Shelby Oaks is probably my next favorite after that, just because it's a strong debut, it's a scary movie, you know, and I do think that he does a lot of really clever things in this movie to really, you know, successfully pull off the horror genre that he's playing in. You know, I mean, he knows the sandbox, he demonstrates it well, and he approaches it with confidence. And I gotta admire that movie. I gotta admire his direction a lot with this movie, especially given that it's his first film. I'll say this, I can't wait to see more from Chris Stuckmann. I think it's a good debut. I do think he has it in him to do better, and I think he's only going to get better as he continues making films. So that's my review of Shelby Oaks. Definitely go check it out for yourself. Let us know what you think when you do, and stay tuned for more Beyond Fest. Thanks, guys.
So it's kind of hard to.
For the writer and director of Shelby Oaks, Mr. Chris Stuckmann.
Hey, everybody. You guys ready to see some creepy shit? This is my first time at Beyond Fest. This is my first time at the Egyptian Theater. I've never been here before. It's incredible. I was told it's the oldest theater in all of Hollywood. Is that true? That's amazing. You guys seriously saved our asses when we were like really needing money, so thank you. You let us make the movie that a lot of folks weren't letting us make, so thank you for doing that. And we got to make a weird, creepy movie that Neon fucking bought, which is awesome. I also just want to thank our incredible crew. Many of them are here. I've said this before, but these are the unsung heroes of movies. These are the people you don't see, who are behind the scenes toiling and sweating every day to make some crazy asshole's vision come to life. And so many of them are here, and I just want to, you know, again, give them such a round of applause, but also our cast. Like, everybody's here. Can I please have all producers, all cast, and all crew stand up right now, please? Honestly, it was a privilege to work with each and every one of these people. Our producers from Paper Street, everyone from Kuntz to Cameron Burns and Ashley Sneed, and our composer, James Burkholder, is here. And obviously our amazing cast who you are about to see light up the screen. This is an independent movie from the ground up, guys. Like, we really did shoot this movie for not a lot of money in Ohio, where I'm from. And, you know, I found most of the locations myself. I made a lot of the location deals myself. I went to these places and was like, can I please shoot in your creepy ass place? And they were like, sure. You can get away with that in Ohio, it's great. I had to tell some of them it was a children's film, and they believed me. Because they didn't want to watch a horror movie, and they were very Christian, and I was like, okay, it's fine. And Nobody's perfect. But it was great. It was great. It was such a privilege to work on this movie, and I just can't thank everyone for being here enough, and for Neon again for making this happen. I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna watch a creepy movie. I hope you guys like it, and we'll talk some more after this.
Creepy ass shit, right? And I gotta say, what is wrong with you people? It's like you're laughing, like it's like scary and you're laughing. You're sick, you're twisted. So is Chris Stuckmann. So please, welcome the writer and director of Shelby Oaks back on stage, Chris Stuckmann. My man, you're a bad man. You're so nice, you're so soft-spoken, I watch your reviews, and then you make something like this. How do you go from being that guy to now this guy?
I think that's the horror community, though. Like, Mike Flanagan's the same way. Like, when you meet horror filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, they're the nicest people on earth because they get all their demons out doing that.
It's true.
Yeah.
And you got some demons. Let's get into the beginning of this and the genesis of this. How did Shelby Oaks materialize?
It started as something I was doing with my wife, horror sketches we would do for our Halloween special, you know, and we would go and just film really fun stuff together. And this is before we had kids, had a little more freedom to get around, and we drove to Tennessee and we shot this cabin in the woods sketch there. And on the way home, we had a 6-hour drive, and we were so fucking tired of waiting to make movies. You know, and I think waiting is the hardest thing really when you're a filmmaker, because it's a constant state of waiting no matter what stage of production you're in, or no production. And we were like, let's just make a movie for $20,000, shoot it ourselves, and put it on YouTube. And that was the first idea for Shelby Oaks.
So how did you then transition? So the idea for Shelby Oaks, or the idea to make a film?
No, Shelby. That was like the original idea was like, we'll just have it be about missing YouTubers, and we'll do it ourselves, and we'll just pay for it and put it on YouTube. And so, but as we were writing it, it just kept evolving and turning into other things, and I couldn't stop the ideas from flowing. And I would talk to my wife, and I'd be like, I think it got bigger. I think the movie's there's more characters now. I think I want to do a shift from found footage to the traditional narrative, and am I allowed to do that? And it just kept getting bigger and bigger as time went on. I couldn't stop them.
And was she just like, yes, you can do that, you can do whatever you want?
My wife is super supportive. But she's also very smart. Like we went through a lot of the dialogue together. Like, you know, we would say it out loud. We'd put on little mini plays on our back porch. We'd stay up till 4 a.m. figuring out this movie, you know? And, but no, I mean, I had a call with the filmmaker. His name's Josh Lobo. He did this movie called I Trapped the Devil. And I was like, I got this idea that kind of it would shift. Is that a rule that I'm allowed to break? And he was like, what? There are no fucking rules. You just make your movie. It kind of freed up my brain to kind of go into some of those places.
Paranoids come into this because...
That was the very, very first idea. The idea was like, the movie will take place in 2008. We'll follow some YouTubers, and we'll just have it all be from their POV. And then it eventually shifted to like Mia, the sister, and the backstory, and having that be the impetus for the story.
So while you're making shorts and put them out on YouTube, you're also building out the lore and the world of this thing, so it's kind of complementing itself. Yeah,
I mean, it started like as an ARG technically, because we shot all of the Paranormal Paranoids episodes back in 2020. We were all masking up, and it was just me and the actors, and they're all here, and you know, shooting with a camcorder.
Now that we've seen the film, can we have a round of applause for
You know, and they trusted me.
Digital existed then.
What's that?
Digital still existed then, but you wanted that that texture, right?
I didn't have children then, so COVID was like a new thing. The world felt like a very different place.
So you shot on tape.
Yeah, we shot on tape, mini DV, like I said, with a camcorder. All of our gear for the YouTube episodes are period accurate. We didn't use any new gear. We didn't mic up the actors. We felt like there was this amazing sense of discovery to early YouTube. And I'm from that era of YouTube, where it just felt like they didn't care about money. The word monetization was not something you heard. You didn't hear people, you know, hoping they would get famous or whatever. It was just people discovering that they could put stuff online. and it felt kind of safe and quaint.